Hello, hello. How we doing, guys? I am doing great, as you can see from my song choice. You guys know, I pull out that song when I'm happy. I'm excited. And this week we have NFP. I love NFP. Always. I think I've said it multiple times now. Always my best week. Consistently, month over month. I can't beat it. I can't beat it. Volatility and price is just clear to me. Might be just mental, right? Might be some form of what do you say that? I have the word on the tip of my tongue here. It's like when you're in a medical trial and they give you a sugar pill. What is the word to define that? But anyways, if someone thinks about it, let me know. I defer to Ice and Nolly. Today was indeed and continues to be a good day. Placebo. Thank you. So it might be a placebo effect, but anyways, regardless, it works. So indeed, Perez, indeed. I did forget to mention it initially in the announcement. Well, I just forgot all overall. But this marks the first weekly outlook for April. And so it is our monthly statistical outlook, right? I started this in March and we will continue to do so. Well, I started it technically in February, but we will continue to do so every first weekly outlook of the month. We're going to dive deeper, analyze long term trends, see how we can profile it using statistics. Drop the stats? Yes, sir, they are coming. But I like to bring you guys along, right? So I don't have anything prepared initially. I'm doing it as I would usually do it when I didn't have you guys, right? So I always used to do these every first outlook. I used to actually have a whole Notion database to keep track of my things. So I have outlooks from back in 2023. Might be worth sharing that sometimes. You guys let me know if you'd be interested in seeing those. My old OG outlooks before they were even recorded and hosted here in Rise. Be interesting. But for now, we're looking at April, right? We had a weird month of March, but exactly as defined. The only part that we did not define was those last 3 days. So for me, we were looking for first of all an expansion lower all the way to that week. We were looking at between the 12th and the 15th to form the low of the month. It was actually formed on the 11th here on Nasdaq and on the 13th here on ES. So that divergence was actually very beautiful on our daily chart. And then we expanded higher. I really did believe that we were going to expand higher as our statistics showcase, but we decided to extend back lower, and we are now trading near the low of the month. Beautiful close? Yeah, definitely. And from this, right, what do we anticipate going into the next week, going into the next month? Well, if I was just looking at price, I'll tell you guys very easily. I'm seeing these levels down here. Let's form some divergence, right? That ES has already taken it. I don't want to see us return down here, right? If NASDAQ reaches this level, then I'm going to be bearish for a lot longer than we initially planned, right? It could even lead all the way to a bearish year, but at least a bearish April into summer, going into fall next year, I'm going to be bearish continuously because this level should hold, right? We have divergence at a key area, premium and discount of this range. So if we are truly bullish, we should expand higher. Now, the fact that we take this out one more time on ES, for example, right, just basically taking out this level right here, this is fine as long as this divergence holds, right? This SMT from NASDAQ not taking out this level. As long as this hold, the idea to go higher is still valid, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. If we pop open Rise statistics here for a second and just look at the simplest of data that I always love to showcase, and that is seasonality, right? What do we see for April? Well, April should be bullish, but if we look at the seasonality, we also notice here, let's take away our year to date here just for a second so we can see a little better. We also notice it's pretty much a consolidation month, a little bit like February, right? We stay within a range, and even if we look at the averages, we're looking at about 1% apart. What does that mean? Well, it's a small range month. A lot of back and forth is to be expected going into May, where we see a low form and then have a bullish extension going into the summer. But what about when we have bearish summers? So what about here? We go to the ranges analysis. Let's go to the monthly here. And what if we analyze, and let's just look at April, right? April. Very, well, not rarely, right? 35% of being a bearish rush, but less often a bearish month than a bullish month. But what about when it is a bearish month? What kind of data can we have that is of interest? Well, if we are to see a bearish month, we should see the high in week 1. That is what overwhelmingly our statistics tell us. That Rystad chart is crazy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A lot here. And is my camera blocking anything here? I mean, it's blocking the specifics of those percentages, but we are showcasing them here. But just at our data, if we are looking for bearish April, we need to see the high form week 1. And for us to form a monthly high, right? Going back to our charts here. For us to form a monthly high, what do we need? Well, every monthly high forms the same. Daily swing point, right? That's how it is created. And we oftentimes have divergence. It is not often as clear, right? But for example, if we look at the high of March here, we traded way deeper into this order block than we did on NASDAQ. That is a form of divergence. And if we go on the lower time frames, we have lower time frame SMT, as we usually like to see divergence. But if we take into consideration the current aspect of price, right, the current, where we are currently in the ranges, well, if we are to see a bearish month, I need to see my week 1, my NFP. Well, first of all, we're going to sweep this low. There's no going about it. But if we have a gap down here, that'd be actually best case scenario. We see us retrace into the range, fill that gap, and then we can see a continuation lower. And going with NFP, we're going to see a Thursday or Friday reversal in this area. 15-second charts. So you follow the rise data, you could have a room temperature IQ and just buy in March and sell on the New Year's Day and make more money than trading these 15-second charts. Yes, for us. Literally. Swing trading seasonality is actually a very good model. The problem with it is, and the reason why I personally prefer intraday trading, right? More so scalping, position trading, rather than swing trading long term, and which we actually call position trading, is because of the lack of occurrence. So if I have 2 trades in the year and we have a down year, we have a bad year, for example, we look at COVID, right? We're here on a daily chart. We look at all that COVID where for almost 2 years, we were on a full downtrend. Well, if I'm expecting seasonality to tell me I'm bullish, it's very hard to be profitable on a year like this. And since it's over a year, you have low occurrence. Hence why I like trading, well, not every day, right? We have specific news frameworks, but since there is so much trading, I can't be unprofitable for a month. Well, I can, but not for 2 months in a row, for example. Hasn't happened yet, should not happen, since there are so many trades during that said month. You also need a lot of margin to hold overnight and over the weekend, yes. Yes, and no, you can't do it with prop firms. And even if you're doing position trading on futures, right, you have contract rollovers where you do have to roll over your positions if you want them to remain valid. Truth is, you're better off doing it on the commodity, right, on NAS 100 or SPX 500. I think that's the term for the commodity indices trading. Been a while, but the Forex prop firm allow you to do that, and some of them do allow for some long-term trading. Nonetheless, from what we see, what can we do, right? Because we have diverging data. I was supposed to see a bullish month. Well, let's actually look. You know what? As I said, nothing of this is pre-prepared, so we might actually see some data that is worthless, truly. But let's look previous entry filtering, right? I'm looking at the monthly time window. So this is going to be filtering based on the previous month. And what if the previous month is bearish? We'll see already here we have a very small occurrence, right? We only have 2 months. Now, is this data that is going to be valuable? Well, it only happened twice in the last currently 10 years, but we're looking all the way back to 2005. So this is in the last 20 years now. only happened for 2 Aprils, right? I'm looking at two specifically for Aprils. So out of those 20 occurrences, only 10% of the months were like this. But it's still 10%, right? So can we come to a conclusion from this? Not something that will be highly accurate, but I still like to visualize that data and see what we are looking for, right? So for example, the rates, well, both instances where we had that, of course, no data available for monthly high rates since we didn't have a high rate, but both months where March was bearish, and wait, it's important. Now I'm saying April is bearish as well. So let's actually go back. Now we have 6 months. That's a little more presentable. I did forget that. Just an opinion, this market is fucked up and not easy. The margin bullshit. Getting out of positions at close, it all stacked to dense against regular people. That's why most good traders swing trade, in my opinion. That is valuable insight. I do agree with you for the most part. It is stacked against the retail trader, right? It's not made to be simple. It's made to be complicated, so it's hard to make money here. Your job as a retail trader for institutions and big players is not to make money. It's to fund their positions. But if you can trade futures, you are amazing in my opinion. Well, you know, futures is a lot volatile, very volatile, especially if we're talking about indices futures. What I personally like from it is the precision coming from tick and point trading. I really like that. Any correlation between Trump years and the down Aprils? No, because we were looking right here. We're looking at any April where the previous month was bearish. So any April after a bearish March. I mean, 2018, 2020, 2015, 14. I don't see any direct correlation, right? You can also filter using specific news, not for months, but for weeks. I don't think that's very interesting. If we're looking at month, what you can do is instead of looking at the entire data set here, you can look at specific years and select all the years, for example, where we had a Trump presidency, which I am Canadian. I do not remember exactly the years, but I remember doing this. I think it was 2016, but I was looking at election years, not just Trump. But you can select, for example, I only want to see data from these specific years, right? And now I'll see all the data from those years. I'll go back now, though, and go back to previous entry filtering for a bearish month and only looking at April. So this data that we now see is specifically for April, where March, so the previous month, was bearish. Do you read news or follow anything in the financial markets but rise stats and bar charts? Well, you said it best. Rise statistics. Why? Because I have statistical data and bar charts, which is just any chart on TradingView that I'm currently utilizing. I don't follow news. I don't follow what is currently going on in the world, except if it's something massive. For example, when we had COVID, well, I wasn't trading then, but that is pretty substantial. If we have a war going on, when, for example, the Ukraine war started, we had the problems with Israel and Gaza. This is all stuff that will affect the markets because it affects us on the world scale, right? So that's something that I do look at, but I don't look at specific things. I don't care about the specifics of financial data. Even with Tesla going down because of Elon's Doge, I don't care. It doesn't affect me. And does it affect the chart specifically? Yes. Do I need to know this to be a profitable trader and trade my system? No, because my system automatically adjusts to the trend. So it doesn't matter why the trend is like that. It only matters that I can recognize it and trade it. Well, see, I can't help you there for us because myself as well, I don't look at that. But as we were looking at, right, we now have 6 months of occurrence, right? 2 bearish months, 4 bullish months. So data is still telling us that we should see a bullish April. And to be honest, that's what I want to see. And of course, following the data, that's where I'm going to be looking for. Previous low rate, previous high rate. Of course, previous month low rate should be seen this week. And best case scenario, what do we want to see? A classic month where we see us open, and then we expand lower. We hold this SMT as we discussed, right? So we don't take this out, and then NFP protocol just sets the standard. Then we're probably going to see a lot of retracement, a lot of trading within our range, right? As the seasonality charts told us about April. but I'd like to see us close bullish, which means just close above the open. We're probably going to see some ranging markets during April here, but it doesn't matter. Because as we said, when we have ranging markets, we use intraday frameworks. Definitely something nice there. I would like to see us return to this cluster of monthly opens. See how March opened very close to February. February, we had a small drive higher, followed by a very aggressive drive lower. I would like to see us return to this area with no precision at all. When I say things like this, I'm not looking for specifically to return to here, specifically to here, but I'm looking at the range between these levels as a cluster. And I want to see price gravitate toward these areas. Now, how bearish are we going to be at the beginning? It's going to be hard to say. But if we do invalidate this point, I'm going to be a lot more careful and consider a lot more short opportunities, especially early on in the month. But as data tells us here, we should still see an expansion higher. And if we look even deeper at the extremes, right? And we're looking at this, we're not filtering to look, are we looking at a bullish month or a bearish month? We already see that we should form the low during week 1 and the high during week 4. So overwhelmingly bullish. If we look at a bearish month, of course, it's a little split here. Why? Because we only have 2 months to look at. It's a little hard to profile the extremes when we're only looking at 2 months. But if we're looking at the bullish month, we have a little more data, right? 4 months. Once again, a little small for my liking, but still overwhelmingly, we expect a trending month. Where do I see a trending month? Well, the low of the week is formed early on in the month. Then we see expansion until later in the month, very late in the month, where we see the other extreme form. So that is what I call a trending month. If we go back to our charts here, this is how you form a classic structure of what we look for. Week 1, week 4, retrace to a close, open, manipulated. So that's definitely what I'm going to be looking at. The Marubozu candle gonna be that devil's mark bullshit, or does that even work? The acceptance candle. What is that? It is rare that you're bringing a term that I am unfamiliar with in these markets, but I'm ready to be taught, I guess. What is that? An acceptance candle? Do you mean like the candle that will bring, that will confirm my idea? Flat bottom candle. Oh, so this, pretty much, right? A candle where we don't have, well, in this case, a bottom wick, or if we were looking at a bullish candle, a top wick. A wickless candle. Yes, does not matter. We're starting a new month. We're going to have a very volatile week. I don't care. I don't bring any specific importance to this level. We're probably going to form a sizable gap and fill this area nonetheless. So I don't add any additional importance to it. See, for us, that's the kind of thing that it's like, oh, well, could there be something valuable for me to know about candles like these? Sure. Could there be some valuable insight into knowing when and how to target these candles? Sure. Does it happen often enough to warrant my time and energy and the mental room in my brain? No. That's the truth. I'd rather be clueless once every 7 weeks than to always be thinking, oh, this candle, now I have to target this. I try to keep it simple. I try and have the least amount of information possible for the most probability, right? And that's why I like to keep things simple here as well, right? I'm looking at monthly profiling here. When should we form the high and low of the week, of the month, and during what week? And then between each weeks, I'm going to look week by week, depending on the news we have, right? Like, for example, we can showcase this. Let's look at this week, right? What do we have? Well, we have NFP. So let's make sure we only look at US NFP. Yes, I do know this is an error. I have to fix that. Always pisses me off. Non-farm payrolls, non-farm employment change is how it's called on Forex Factory. Let's not look at prelim. Let's not look at anything. Really just non-farm payrolls. So what we're looking at here is every week where we have NFP during the week, right? That's what we're looking at. And how can we profile this further? Well, we could look at well, it's always going to be the first week of the month. We could actually filter to only look at April. How about that? April NFP. I am going to set the currency once again. And see, that bug only happens sometimes where you see the little error message. I hate it. Okay, so 5 April NFP. That is special. Oh, I probably had a different name beforehand. Let's bring this guy in. Same thing. All right. Well, we have NFP weeks. We have 7 weeks. That's actually too small for me to consider. I'll bring back the entire data set. I prefer this. Prefer having more weeks, less specific filtering in this case. But where do we have the value? Right here. Once again, in the data. That rice stats info is very valuable. The past tells us the future. Yes, that is why I love this stuff, right? You can't deny it. You can't tell me this isn't valuable. You can tell me I don't know how to use it, or I don't want to use it, or I don't think it's going to bring me any additional value than not having it. Sure. Okay. Everything can have arguments to and against it, right? 100%. But you can't tell me that this information is false. You can't tell me it doesn't have any backing, because it's literally backed by what happened. Whatever, right? I love statistics, as you guys have seen. But now what do we know? We know we have 60% chance of going for a bullish week. Not the biggest divergence in those factors, right? But the majority of the time we'll see a bullish week when it comes to NFP. If we're looking further into the probabilities of profiling the extremes, same thing. All that we can really know from these two charts, what I see, right, is okay, Monday has the highest chance of forming the low of the week. Sure. Going into Tuesday as well. Okay, so we should see a trending week is what we know, because we also see Friday has the highest chance of forming the high. So we should see a trending week that is bullish. But what I really like from seeing these two charts is how high the probability is for both the high and low on Friday. So what do I know? Well, Friday will be my largest range day. It will be my most trending day. So that's what I really want to look at. Previous high and low, not that interesting. We know it happens most often on Monday. So if we are to see a weekly high or weekly low raid, we should see that on Monday. And I mean, looking at our chart this week, this isn't very valuable. It's pretty obvious that we are going to take out this low. Well, that we should at least take out this low. What I'm more interested in is, as I said, right, going back to that monthly profiling, is how we should still see a bullish month of April, right? Let's bring back April, previous entry filtering for a bearish. So even though we had a bearish March, we should still see a bullish April. And of course, I'm always going to be referring to these levels right here that you see. What is that? That's my average total range, average distribution. What is that, my average distribution? Well, in the case of a bullish candle here, it's going to be from open to high. If it's a bearish candle, well, let's just look at this as the open. It's going to be from open to low. That manipulation, which is that opposite movement, right? That forms that bottom of that top wick. And the average retracement, which is for later on in the month, if I'm looking for something else. Would you look for longs after we sweep that low tomorrow? Yeah, if everything else is present, Patrick, 100%. 100%. Everything else is present. What do I mean by that? I have a specific model I trade, right? So I need my entry model. I need it to align with my daily expansion, right? Daily power of 3. If you're looking for more information, I see that you're new to the server. Welcome, by the way. If you're looking for more information as to how I interact with these ideas on a day-to-day basis, price action reviews. I mean, I'd wish I could refer you to Thursday's price action review, which was a packed one, but I actually didn't record my audio, so it's not available on YouTube. But you can look on my YouTube. I think that we're now at like 150 or 170 price action reviews. So I've been spamming these PA reviews. Look, of course I'm biased because I made them, but I really do believe when I started doing these, I was looking at what would have been valuable for me when I started trading. And it's not more fucking mentors out there telling you their specific concepts and stuff. And of course, I'm always advertising Rice Statistics. It is my product. It is my platform. I won't be changing that, right? But the truth is, it's not that. It's seeing, okay, well, here's his higher time frame idea. But how does he transfer that to a trade idea? And how does he interact and based on what he sees in the markets every single day and having a mechanical logic to it? I just noticed my camera is extremely dark. So let's bring this guy up a little so you guys can possibly see me a little better. Sorry about that. On your Friday's review, you were super bear, but there was SMT on both sides, multiple meaning consolidations. You only talked about the bearish SMTs. What made the distinction for you? Trending day, right? Trending day. So if you look at the beginning of the PA review, we discussed how it was a trending day and I would only be considering shorts due to what happened overnight. Trending after it happened, I understand what you mean, but no. I have some very specific criterias to define a trending day even before New York happens. So that was it for me, right? And that's what we slightly discussed. I did go over it quickly. Next time we see a trending day for us, talk to me about it. Yeah, well, right now I want to focus on the monthly and weekly outlook. I don't want to start opening the chart to look at Friday's price action. But next time we see a trending day, you guys remind me and we'll spend some more time during that PA review and I'll define what it means and we'll even go in replay mode and everything. I'll showcase how you could have known before the fact. It is not the most accurate logic, but I understand that it is my most probable to flip my bias to be on side with that trend. Well, I'll see Thursday's recorded, but with no sound. But yeah, remind me next time we see a trending day. We should see one this week. With NFP, we should definitely see one, and we'll be able to go over it more in depth than during this call. But yes, as we were saying, right, these average range levels are what I'm going to be looking at. I like to draw these on my chart manually. So for example, here I see, usually I have this on another screen, right? I have 5 screens pretty much. But on that average distribution, I have 4.86. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to come here to my chart and I'm going to measure from the open, which hasn't yet happened, right? It's going to happen on Tuesday, right? Because Friday is still Monday is still part of March. But if we see Tuesday, I'm going to measure and I'm going to do 4.86. And when it's hard like this, right, I don't even like to zoom in. I just like to go here, the coordinates, and I'm going to do this. You're going to go down until I see 4.86. Okay, why? I'm bringing it lower, but the percentage is going down. That is weird. What is going on here? Oh, because I was lowering the first one. Okay. So let's 4.86. Let's do this. There we go. And as you can see, it's going to have a little bit of tick difference. Why is that? Well, you can put it into points in the app if that's something you want to see. Right here, I like to use percentage myself, but you can also go in points and see the average point. Why do I like to use percentage? Because 50 points this year is not the same as 50 points 3 years ago. No, Patrick, it's all free. All free. Actually, they're hosted just like in this stage. As right now, we're hosting a free live event. Everyone is allowed to come, no matter how you trade, no matter when you trade, what assets you trade. Of course, I'm focusing on indices futures. That's what I review. That's what we look at. But no, it's open to everyone and will remain free. I can't guarantee for the rest of my life I will do PA reviews multiple times a week, but I can guarantee that at least for the next 3 years, you'll have 1 to 2 live events for free from me. That's what I can guarantee. That's a promise I'm making. But yes, so I use these average range levels, right? As I just showcased, I measure them manually. I was going to make an indicator to calculate them, well, basically where I could input the number and it just draws the line for me. Might be something in the future, but I have a lot of respect. I won't mention it, but the person who already has an indicator quite similar to this. The levels aren't the same, but they are quite similar. I have a lot of respect for them, and I do not want to bring a tool that is the same as them. So unless I have something valuable I can add to this that is not yet available, then we won't see an indicator for this anytime soon. But I like to draw them, and I always draw them in the same way. I have 2 width, I have specific levels. For example, distribution will be green, and I bring in the text here, and I'll just say monthly. In this case, it's going to be minus distribution. Why? Because it's bearish distribution. If I was going to do bullish, I'll do the other level, and I'll bring that level to not middle center, right middle. So that way I can always see it no matter that time frame. And I also like to lock these drawings so I don't accidentally draw it, not on purpose. Any thoughts on why the NFP day was a consolidating day and the expansion occurred the following Monday? Are you talking about March? During March? Or are you talking, when are you talking about, Speacock? Okay, NFP day, let's look at it. Well, Friday was here. Okay, that is a huge expansion. That continued onto Monday, which is unrelated in my book. But what you don't see, you look at this and you know your candle profile, so you see this, oh, what a huge rejection. But on that day, we had a 520 handle range, where from open to low, we did 500 handles to then fully reverse that move to go 520 handles more higher and then retrace to a close for an additional 71 handle movement. That is a large range day in my book. We moved a lot. And of course, Monday was crazy, right? 100%. But I don't correlate them together at all. It's kind of weird for a month like April here where we expect consolidation. We want to see bullish prices though. And currently within price, we're at a very dangerous area here where we could go lower. But if we break lower below this low, it's going to be a little weird to be long. And in cases like that, what do I always tell you guys? I'm bearish until proven otherwise. So if we break this, I'm going to be bearish until I'm wrong 2 days in a row. That's the truth. And I'm always referring, guys, you know it, premium and discount. This is the current range I'm looking at after we break this low, right? So we're going to form a range like this. I'm going to look for that new week opening gap mainly, right? This is definitely something I want on my chart right now. We're going to have the new week opening gap. I'm going to preset it to 2 so that when we open our week, I'll be able to see it. And I always like to bring my midlines, but only when we're trading within it. I'm always going to be looking at those. I like my new week opening gaps. They are big magnets for price. You guys know this is how I personally interact with them, as big areas that will draw price to it. And I would love to see this and perhaps even reach into this cluster, but I don't think that's something that April will be doing an 11% month. Pair and fibs should hold, but yeah, it's scary, but it's where the money is made in the markets. Yes, sir, right? Scared money don't make money. That's a very good way to look at it as well. I don't know. I feel like things are simple when you have a model, right? You have a system that you follow. I have statistics that tell me what I should be looking for, right? You guys know, when I did this first monthly outlook, I told you guys, I never do long-term analysis, even at a month. The furthest I go about is looking at this week, and sometimes at the end of the week, I'll say going into next week, right? But I want to get better at it. Yeah, higher time frames, higher time frame trends, and I want to get better at it. So how do you get better at something? Practice. So that's why I'm doing these with you. So this is like my little disclaimer to say, trade it at your own risk, right? And of course, the video always has a disclaimer within it. I'm not looking to get sued based on the free ideas I give out. But you know, March went great. So I'm super happy with how we profiled March, even though those last 3 days were completely different than what we were expecting. Okay, well, 3 days wrong for all the other days right? I mean, that's perfect. It's like a Matryoshka doll. One goes into the other. Yeah, multiple layers to it. Definitely. So I'm looking to defractalize, right? I've been so zoomed into my charts. Now I want to zoom out and see what we actually look for. A lot of people also like to go into the weekly chart here and see things like, hey, weekly fair value gap, held price. We're not going to expand to this swing low. Yes, but it's not any information that I couldn't see on my daily chart. And same goes with the monthly. I have been diving into the 6 months and 3 months chart to see if there's something valuable. And what do you notice here? Well, this is a big objective here. We have a swing low at this level. What is that? That is July 2024. So we have a swing low here. And if we go to the, what was it, the 6 month? Yeah, the 6 month, we have a fair value gap just below it. So we have a lot of downside objectives. We'll have to see if we do go to them, but we have a lot of downside objectives that we're going to have to be wary of going into the next few weeks, going into April. It's the start of a new quarter also, right? If you don't know, I like to use trends in quarters as well. So it would be the perfect area to flip our trend to go bullish. But that's being a dreamer. And I am also a trader, right? So as a trader, I understand that if we trade below this low, I'm no longer going to be looking for longs until I am invalidated. So until we invalidate basically a premium in efficiency. How does that sound, guys? Right? 35 minutes, that is a good amount of time. I like that. We managed to go over some simple statistics. We didn't go into anything more detailed. I have been getting requests to have the new month opening gap, to add the new month opening gap into the opening gaps analysis. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, I don't think this is something I've showcased this much live. This is a new week opening gap, so you'll see data about the new week opening gaps, its deviations, when do we revisit to it, and of course, if I was to go to the new day opening gap, for example, revisit times will showcase intraday times that we need to look at. Well, will you draw quarters? Quarters is financial quarters. That's what I mean. But some people have been requesting the new month opening gap, so I might actually consider adding it. So if you guys are Rice Statistics users, definitely go on the homepage, give me a little form officially requesting it, and I'll definitely consider it. But as for price, pretty simple stuff, right? We profile it. We are looking for a bullish month. This is our invalidation level. Couldn't be any clearer than that, I believe. But if you guys have any questions, of course, we do have time. So don't be scared to ask them. Same exact mechanical ray. Trading stuff is like, I don't want to repeat that actually on YouTube. High risk, high reward. Okay. I guess so. I wouldn't know for us. I wouldn't know. Do you go more conservative on trades like this, potentially long tomorrow if we sweep that low? Yeah, but for me, it's not about, oh, we're going to sweep that low, so now I'm going long. No, I need my model to be there. And I know that if my model is present, no matter if my bias is right or wrong, I have an edge. So I'm going to trade it. That's it. But for example, if we open tomorrow and I see us open, we go and form a high somewhere during Asia or London, and there is SMT at that high, and now at New York we open here, right? So this is this line here is New York open, and there is also SMT here. There is no way I'm taking long here unless I'm understanding it is a retracement. Oh, I tried to anchor that. Unless understanding it is a retracement, and then my objective will be that first premium in efficiency, as you might have seen from price action reviews. So I need my day to align with my idea before I can trade it. Can you say a few sentences in French for the ladies watching? No, I will not. No, I will not for us. Nice try, though. There needs to be context. Now, are there any trading related questions I can't answer to? No, I really don't mind, guys. I really don't mind. See you guys typing here. Always a pleasure, Alex. I see you in here every single time. Hope you find value within these. Great show, as it should be. As it should be. Well, thank you all for joining here in numbers. We usually have less people coming to the outlooks, and it's surprising with the consistency we've seen, at least recently. But I'm very glad to have you all with us. Thank you, especially the newcomers. Hope we'll see you again. You guys have a great week. Good luck trading. We're going to have PA reviews every single day except Thursday this week. So we'll see each other tomorrow night for our PA review. Have a good one, guys. Enjoy.